it's a weird, really interesting situation where they had to have a house and they were just about to lose it. The sellers were losing patience, right? And so when I get the deal, I look at their tax return and I'm like, okay, so you have these other rental properties, but how many do you have again? She's, oh, I have three. Well, two, and one's a duplex, and so it's really three, but kind of in two. And I'm like, well, on your Schedule E on your tax return where you put your rentals, I only see one. And I said, okay, so who did your taxes? Well, my husband did. Okay, how do you do them? TurboTax. Oh, okay, all right, great. So where's your rental property that you're missing?
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Josh Rogers, who's the founder of Rogers Mortgage Group and also the author of Make It a Yes, which is a great tool for investors. So thank you for being here, Josh.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Kristen. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Amazing. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get into the real estate industry?
Well, it's been a long journey. I've been in it over 20 something years, and when I started, started with a lady that was an amazing lady. So she was a real estate investor herself, and she had a mortgage company, and she would help tons of investors. She was closing like 30 loans, selling like 30 houses a month at this time. It was insane to watch her and to learn from her. And so I kind of always been in the space of real estate investing when I got into the business in the early 2000s. And so, yeah, so it's been a long journey and done a lot of learning. And, I do some flips and things like that. I've done some neighborhood flips as well, some land development and things like that. And in my
Amazing.
book, yeah, we talk about all kinds of things. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you kind of found this right away and you really found your passion.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And the thing that always got me for lending, when I started lending, it was like, there's always a how, there's never a no. And so that's the premise behind Make It a Yes. If you want to own real estate investment, if you want to grow your portfolio, there's a how. There's never a no. You just have to figure out what you're missing and what you're, where the gaps are. And as soon as you know that, you can solve for X, basically.
Yeah. So what issues were you seeing or what problems were you seeing that inspired you to write this book?
Well, so many people. So I started thinking about it. I started thinking about how, okay, so let's say we have a high income earner. Let's just say $300,000. They're making $300,000 a year. They want to get into real estate. They want to start building portfolio and their portfolio and start taking some of the tax benefits and things like that. A lot of W-2 earners, they want to get in the real estate game, save on taxes. But I started thinking about it. I was like, well, how many houses could they actually buy if they don't know how to structure debt. So if you think about it, I mean, I'm in Nashville, so the average loan size is 300,000. Now the average house is 500 plus.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So it really doesn't, you're really not going to be able to buy but 1 to 2 houses. And so how can you really build a portfolio when you have the average person at your, that you're using, your average CPA and average, those people, they just don't know. And the average lenders out there aren't going to tell you, and the CPAs aren't going to tell you. And I was just had a conversation with a guy that's building his portfolio just right before we talked. He was, I said, okay, what kind of depreciation did you guys use? What did you depreciate your vehicle? What kind of angles did you take to help you save money and help you, keep your income up? And he's like, well, I don't know. I said, okay, well, we need to kind of look at that, and the sad thing is that if they don't know, if the customer doesn't know, the borrower doesn't know, most of the time, the tax preparer is not going to ask them, hey, before we get started, Kristen, to do your tax returns, what are your goals?
Mm-hmm.
The answers would be different if someone asked you what your goals are, right? Hey, look, I want to build a real estate portfolio. I want to save on taxes, but I can't kill my income too much so I can't get a loan. And if you look at it that way, that opens up a whole different angle, and there's certain ways and certain things that how lenders look at tax returns that CPAs and people don't know. And to be honest with you, a lot of lenders don't know how to read tax returns. And so there's a problem. And so it's a problem of how do you really build your portfolio if your whole Rolodex doesn't know how to get you there. And
Right.
that's why I wrote the book.
It's amazing. So you kind of have all the different advice all in one.
Yeah. So the book is Make It a Yes. Not to hop too much on the book, but it's to
Yeah.
learn banker secrets, to maximize your income, and so that's for lending, but lower your taxes at the same time. Protect assets, so setting up the right entities, and how to qualify for loans. And so that's debt structuring. That's the title of the book. It's quite long, but I couldn't think of anything better than it encompasses everything that we're talking about,
Hey,
that I want to
you know
discuss
what you're
about.
getting into for sure. And
Yeah.
I think there's something that people don't really, I guess, realize in your line of work in lending is that it really is creative. You really do have to
Yeah.
take a creative approach, and every deal is a little bit different, and you have to figure out how to get it done. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. How can you get creative to have that balance for all of
Mhm.
it, right? How can you get creative to save money on your rehab costs? How can you get creative on seeing something that someone didn't? They passed on the deal and you were lucky enough to get a deal with enough room so you can make profit. Then on top of it, you got to what's that dance between my tax return and my my tax savings on what and what the difference is, what a lender's going to look at. Now the reason we bring that up is because DSCR loans, hard money loans, those are great. Hard money loans are great if you have the margins.
Mm.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
But the cheapest money is Fannie and Freddie. And Fannie and Freddie will let you borrow and have 10 mortgages. So why wouldn't you start there if you could? Now, not everybody's going to be able to, but if you could, why wouldn't you start there, build up your 10, then expand into other options that are more pricey? But if you're definitely going to do long-term loans, get into the rental game, you want a cash flow, and it's going to be really tough to cash flow with a DSCR loan. It just, the high interest, the points, everything else, it makes it a little more difficult. But it's not impossible. There are people that cash flow with DSCR loans. That's the whole basis of them. But that was the point of making the book is, how can you get what you want and maximize it at the
Yeah.
same time?
Yeah. What's an example, maybe like a real life example you've seen of somebody taking that creative approach, like maybe something that the average person would have missed and you were able to get it done?
Oh, well, this one's kind of crazy. It's kind of sad too. So I had a customer, a real estate agent so I teach a class too. So this is a class as well. And so I teach it for real estate CE. I have a bunch of classes to teach for real estate CE. And this is the one I'm most proud of. I love it. And so someone took my class and they had this client that was turned down by 8 different lenders. So I was the 8th lender, so 7 previous lenders. And when I get to the customer, they're in a situation that they have to have this house. It's a weird, really interesting situation where they had to have a house and they were just about to lose it. The sellers were losing patience, right? And so when I get the deal, I look at their tax return and I'm like, okay, so you have these other rental properties, but how many do you have again? She's, oh, I have 3. Well, 2, and one's a duplex, and so it's really 3, but kind of in 2. And I'm like, well, on your Schedule E on your tax return where you put your rentals, I only see 1. And I said, okay, so who did your taxes? Well, my husband did. Okay, how do you do them? TurboTax. Oh, okay, all right, great. So where's your rental property that you're missing? It's not on your tax return. So you're getting hit for the mortgage on your debt to income ratio on the mortgage application, but your income is not showing for it. It's not accounting for it on your tax return. So you're not getting the income. So there's no way in the world you're ever going to get approved using this tax return. And I'm so sorry that no one told you, but you're missing a whole property off your tax return. And so I was able to get with them and we looked at, I was able to prove that they had 12 months of rent. Okay. So really you can't use amended returns with loans. Okay. With lending. But in this case we could, because we actually had the canceled checks. We had all that. And so I was able to amend their returns and we closed the loan in 10 days from start to finish, from taking a phone call. Yeah. And figuring out the issue. And I have CPA. I have several CPAs I work with. And so there's a lot of tax strategy I do. And, and this is one of them. Now we're talking about cost segregations and stuff with that client, but, cause she's buying another property. And, but that's what happened with her situation. And there's countless self-employed situations where they're just taking the wrong deductions. I can give you
Right.
more. I live in this world and I love it because it's such a people aren't getting the right service, and they're not getting what they think they're getting, when they
Right.
talk to tax people.
Yeah, and what would you say to someone who wants to, like an investor who does their taxes on TurboTax?
Well,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I'm sure there's a lot of mistakes that can get made.
Well, see, the thing is that it would be good to do it on TurboTax, and so you kind of have an idea of where you're at, then get someone else to look at it. Because TurboTax, they take you down these rabbit holes, and it will seem completely correct. But here's another issue. So this year, for the new property, they were doing TurboTax again. And I said, okay, well, I need to see the TurboTax. And they're like, oh, okay, here's my logins. And I looked at it, I'm like, I can't see the returns. I can't see the boxes. So I don't know how to, but here's something else, Kristen. What happens from a tax return to a lender is what CPAs don't know. It's this thing called the income calculation worksheet. So an hourly employee that doesn't know anything about taxes, or now it's AI, okay? It reads your tax return and takes certain information from the boxes and does an income calculation worksheet, so it's completely separate from your tax return. So there's each of these boxes has a plus and minus, and no one knows it. That no one understands that's a reality. And so I built an actual financial calculator that does all that on my Make It a Yes website. You're the first person I'm actually talking to about it.
Nice.
It's built so people could actually run through, say, hey, wait, don't file your tax returns until you looked at this through a lender's lens, and so you can see what happens to your debt to income ratio. And it's the first calculator that I've seen that takes in all those different schedules from a tax return and will spit out your debt to income ratio.
Wow.
So that's, I geek out over this. Okay. So total tax return nerd in a sense, but it's so real life. It's so real life, because if you don't know that answer, you're just throwing stuff up against the wall and seeing if it's going to stick. And you don't know. No, here's another reason why I started this and wrote this book, is because I had a very experienced real estate investor worth several $1,000,000. And he's like, hey, we need to switch some of these loans from hard money to mortgages. And he said to me, do you think I'll qualify? And I'm like, how in the world do you not know if you qualify or not? How's that? How can you just be in this world using your credit, using your tax returns for your income, right? Because you can't do anything without your credit, right? In real estate investing, that's your lifeline. And so I realized, holy cow, if this person doesn't know, who does? And why wouldn't they know? And how can I help them know? And how can I share this information? I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool how you seem to have a very 360 approach to it. You have the book, you have the classes, and now you have this online calculator. You seem to really be helping people through this in a very holistic way.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to scream from the mountaintops, but actually you're the first podcast I'm doing. I really don't get out enough, and so I'm really trying to now. I'm kind of wearing my Make It a Yes shirt,
Yes.
around, and kind of like, hey, look, last class I taught, a lot of people wanted the book. It's been a lot of fun. What's really cool is when it can help someone. Um, Here's another example. I had a person that took my class. She is a real estate agent that's in a real estate investor. She was buying another property, but this was her dream property. It was her mountain property up in the Smoky Mountains. And she dealt with this particular lender and gave him over $11 million in business last year. And this is in May. Okay. This is just a couple months from now and a couple months ago. And so she was turned down the day before closing.
Mm.
And she called me and I said, well, so what happened? And she was, well, I don't know. And he just, started asking me about my real estate business. And I was like, oh, they were really filling out a P&L, a profit and loss statement. And no, they weren't. And I was like, yeah, that's what they were doing. So basically your profit and loss statement killed your deal.
Mm.
And so there's checks and balances for everything. And if you don't really realize what you're doing, you're going to
Right.
say this other thing that's going to cancel out all the hard work you did. And so her tax returns were good, but her P&L wasn't going to match. Well, actually, I redid her tax returns because she left off a lot of depreciation. And so she hadn't filed them exactly. So she was right before she filed them. And, but anyway, so it was, luckily we saved her some money on her taxes and able to get her loan because her P&L, she just didn't understand it. And they didn't say, hey, look, your P&L is not really matching here. And so
Right.
that and it is sad. I just don't understand how some lenders can have the philosophy of I'm sorry, it's just not going to work, and not tell them what's going on, why or how
Right.
or what really happened. And so that's the other part of of what I'm doing is trying, hey, if you know the answers before asking the questions, that's where you need to be, right? That's where I would want to be.
Right.
And so that's another scenario how it helps. And there's another guy that was buying a trucking company. No, he has a trucking company buying another investment property. And I said, okay, before you file, let me see your returns. And sure enough, he bought 3 trucks last year, over $150,000 in trucks. They're big box trucks. And he didn't depreciate them at all. They weren't there. There was just mileage and fuel charge. And so all those things are all minuses off his income. So he was negative $100,000 or whatever. So we switched it so he could use depreciation. He didn't pay much more in taxes, maybe a couple $100 more in taxes. But his income went from negative to 130,000 a year.
Wow.
With that one move. So he had like this $194,000 in fuel charges. I was like, bro, just switch that same thing over here, which you're not even taking advantage of. And then in 24, he could only take advantage of 60% of the depreciation. I don't know if you know about that, but the depreciation's been slowly coming off. But now with the big, beautiful bill, hey, from the mountaintops, you want to buy real estate because real estate offers you bonus depreciation. You can do a cost segregation and wipe out your taxes. You can really help your tax situation with real estate. That's book number 2, Kristen, is going to be explaining how real estate is much better than the stock market. Because if you take your 401k, your IRA, and all that kind of stuff, that's not a tax write-off. Yeah, and so that's the fun stuff. How do you kind of play chess and kind of work your whole scenario out? And that's not even getting into the asset protection piece. That's just
Yeah.
lending. And, you know, one of the other things I teach is to start off with, okay, just imagine if your CPA asked you what your goals were. And if you asked them, if that really happened, you could say, hey, look, I'm trying to build a real estate portfolio, and I need my tax returns to help me get the best loans. Okay, great. How do we do that? I don't know, but we can figure it out. It's a different conversation of, hey, here's my information, fill out the boxes, try to save me as much money as possible. And
Yeah.
what that usually does is that kills your income.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
you're not using depreciation, the stuff. Now, here's the magic about depreciation. Pull the curtain back. Depreciation, all lenders can use depreciation dollar for dollar for income. So here's an example. Okay. So I had a customer a long time ago. He made $38,000 a long time ago. This is 2004 or something like that. But he bought a FedEx truck that was $38,000. So, because he was going to be a FedEx driver. So he bought his own truck. So his taxable income was zero because he made $38,000 and wrote $38,000 off. During that year, you could do that with that heavy truck. But his lending income, his taxable income was zero, but his lending income was $38,000 because that depreciation box on the tax return, I can add back dollar for dollar. That's what makes real estate so special and what makes depreciation so special. You can't do that with an IRA or 401k or buying Apple stock, or buying Tesla stock.
Mhm.
You can't do that. It doesn't give you the same benefits. So that's my angle to help people understand why you would want to invest in real estate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Especially,
you've given some good real world examples. I feel like it's very helpful for people of all experience levels. Even the most experienced person can still slip up or not optimize their deal the correct way. So I mean, this has gone by really quick. We're already at 20 minutes. So tell people
okay,
where to
yeah.
find you and how to find your book.
Make it a yes, makeitayes.com. Yeah, makeitayes.com. And you can reach me from there and get the book and see the loan calculator.
Yes. The loan calculator seems awesome. That seems like a great tool for everybody.
Yeah, wonderful. I really appreciate your time, and I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm glad we could do this. And sorry for the technical
Wonderful.
difficulty.
Oh, no problem. And everybody, please check out Make It a Yes. I mean, it sounds like your income relies on it. You need to check out this book. You're going to lose money if you don't. So, and check out Josh as well. So, thank you so much for being here, Josh.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. And thank you for
Yeah,
everyone for listening. We will see you next time.
beautiful.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.